In 1991, history was made, and a channel dedicated to music was launched. The concept of juxtaposing both sound and image into a single mosaic of artistic expression. Just imagine that. MTV playing music. Mind completely blown.
Oh, MTV. I remember thee fondly.
The 80s were the glory days of MTV. You know, during the 80s, you could turn on MTV any time of the day, and you'd see, Weird Al Yankovic, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Motley Crue, Prince, Madonna. It didn't matter. Nowadays, you turn on MTV, and what do you see? Pregnant 15-year-olds and orange people who live in New Jersey.
It was a Sunday morning in the early 80s. I woke up and turned on the television, and it was one of those times where the local cable provider had added some and moved a bunch of the channels around. So I'm up looking for my stations, and on the channel where I knew HBO used to be was this thing, a music video.
I want my MTV back.
Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli?
Milli Vanilli.
Seriously?
I used to jam to that shit. Girl, you know it's true. I love you.
Great pop music. Yeah, shame about the controversy.
What big controversy about Milli Vanilli in the 80s?
Few things beat the irony of a hair metal reunion show. I saw Poison last summer. I'm watching the show just thinking to myself, Poison on stage 25 years after their big moment, their big day. It doesn't look like hair metal anymore. Now it just looks like one big Rogaine commercial. Remember slap bracelets? I think slap bracelets were made intentionally to scare overprotective sissy parents. Oh, they're slapping thin metal strips against their wrists. They're gonna cut themselves. Suicide poi, suicide poi.
Ow.
La 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 la.
The gang will reign supreme. No one can deny.
GoBots versus Transformers. How could you not just be amazed by a toy line that had the cojones to make a Walter P-38 into a toy?
I always wanted to be a Smurf. He's just a little blue person running around a bunch of shrooms, having a good old time trying to escape from that big old Gargamel. Oh, dreams.
Get on that. I could just listen to that sound all day.
Cyndi Lauper was to Madonna what the GoBots were to the Transformers.
Yeah, that never gets old.
Leg warmers. They're like girdles for people with cankles.
Video games.
Atari? Yeah, I definitely had an Atari when I was a kid.
My first gaming experience was actually Defender on the Atari 2600. First game I remember playing. And the thing that was cool is it was like this side-scroller where you piloted this ship, and you like shoot these spaceships that were abducting people, and you're supposed to like grab the people as they like before they hit the ground. But I always kind of like got a little bit of a jolly out of like letting them hit the ground. I know it's like a sick sort of thing to say, but it was like I was a kid, and I don't know. That to me that seems hilarious.
Now, my first system that we had outside of Pong was the ColecoVision.
In fact, to this day, some of my fondest memories are playing Atari.
That's right, the ColecoVision.
Moon Patrol for the Atari 2600, and for some reason that game, like the music, I had to play it. If I played it, I had to play it with like the volume off because the music used to creep me the hell out for some reason.
And just like today, where you have your PlayStation and Xbox fanboys, back then you had the Atari and Coleco fanboys.
E.T. on Atari. In fact, if there's a hell for video gamers, this is what you would have to play for eternity.
I thought the Coleco system was a blast. You had Mousetrap. Smurfs.
I always wanted to be a Smurf.
Venture.
The holy trinity of 80s movies that start with the letter G. Ghostbusters.
I have my Ghostbusters t-shirt.
You know, Planet's having a big ol' orgasm right now. This is for you, Travis.
Something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
Ghostbusters is probably easily the most quoted movie, I think, in cinematic history.
Are you, Alice, menstruating right now?
That's a big Twinkie.
Somebody saw a cockroach up on 12. That must be some cockroach.
Let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown.
What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the sky. Rivers and seas boiling. 4 years of darkness. Earthquakes and volcanoes. The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
You know, the first time I saw Ghostbusters, I didn't even know I was watching a movie. I thought it was a 2-hour cigarette ad.
Yeah, there was a lot of smoking in Ghostbusters, which is kind of weird. I mean, they were scientists. You would think they would know better.
Miss Luluvetta has to make a confession. I was never a big fan of the Ghostbusters movies. I'm sorry, Travis.
What's not to like? I mean, I was a 9-year-old kid, scared to death of freaking gremlins. So the thought of a group of guys out there taking care of this shit that goes bump in the night was a pretty big relief to me. And then it didn't hurt that they were funny and charming and smart and sexy. Did I just say that out loud?
I'm sorry, honey. There wasn't a cute fella in the whole movie. So, you know, luckily they made Young Guns, okay? And that made up for everything from Miss Luluvetta.
Goonies.
I remember I had no idea what Goonies was about. I just knew I wanted to see it.
I liked the kid with like all the gadgets and stuff, and plus there was Chunk, you know, little chubby kid in the group. He was pretty funny.
Who doesn't like the Goonies?
Oh, listen, you know Miss Luluvetta loves the Goonies, okay? I mean, I don't care who you are. If you don't like the Goonies, then there's something you know, I'm gonna hold my tongue because I'm trying to be decent for a change. But if you don't like the Goonies, you're crazy. You're mad stupid is what you are.
Group of misfit kids, hidden treasures, bad guys, booby traps.
Here we are hanging on to strings of green and blues.
Break the chain and we break down. Oh, it's not real if you don't feel it. Unspoken expectations, ideals you used to play with. They finally taken shape for us.
I had to say which movie I love the most out of these three. It's so tough. So I'm going to have to say, just because it was the first one I watched, Gremlins.
The Gremlins was cool because as a kid, that was the first time that I rooted for the villain. Like, I wanted them to take over that town. I wanted that place to be destroyed. They were just so cool. I wanted them to win.
The cool thing about Gremlins is nobody even discusses the fact that it's actually a Christmas movie. It's set during Christmas time, and I don't know about you, but nothing says Christmas more to me than little evil monsters terrorizing old women.
Now, Gremlins, on the other hand, I pretty much knew what that was about. Or at least, in my 9-year-old mind, I thought I did. So much so that I kept begging my parents to let us see it. And they actually made a family movie night out of it. So, all 4 of us went out to the theater that night. My parents pretty much realized that was a mistake when they brought us home and I was too terrified to go to bed.
Gremlins also has probably the most disturbing monologue ever in the history of a children's movie. When she explains why she doesn't like Christmas and her dad dressing up as Santa and getting stuck in the chimney, that is the most awkward moment in the history of children's movies.
Oddly enough, Ghostbusters and Gremlins were 2 of the movies that influenced the Motion Picture Association to create the PG-13 rating. Before those films released, there was no such thing.
I can't imagine a world without these 3 movies.
Whenever I think of VHS, I think of Corey Haim and Police Academy and Friday the 13th and my dad's porno collection.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats, ho! What, you're too good for the Thundercats?
Eye of Thundera, give me sight beyond sight.
Thunder.
Thunder.
Thundercats,
Ho!
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 Thundercats are on the move.
Thundercats are loose!
Feel the magic, hear the roar.
Thunder, thunder, Thundercats.
Wow! Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats!
Thundercats was an animated series about a group of cat people.
Ugh. Is this what it's really like for Thundercats? Gross.
Led by their king, Lion-O, who was basically a boy trapped in a man's body. And when he played with his magical sword, it got longer and longer. Phallic!
Here's the part with Mumra so you can get down now.
And of course, there were the evil mutants and their leader, Mumra. My sister and I used to do a thing that annoyed the crap out of our mother. Here, let me show you why. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form to Mumra, the ever-living!
I wonder if, they have to get a cat box for Snarf.
Snarf, snarf. What the was Snarf anyway?
Be nice to Lion-O. It's like Planet of the Apes. In a million years of evolution, you could be fighting evil beings too.
Thanks a lot, MTV.
Must have slipped my mind. Over my head.